In 1974, a can of roast veal was opened in New York. It had been sealed in 1823 and 151 years earlier. The meat was analyzed. Still safe. Still recognizable as food. The canning process does not just preserve meat, it stops time for it. These 12 canned meats do the same, available tonight, still viable decades from now. Drop a comment. How many canned meats do you currently have stored? Number 12. Canned chicken in bone broth. Different from standard canned chicken in water. The bone broth base changes the product entirely. Standard canned chicken sits in water that was added to fill the can. Canned chicken in bone broth sits in collagen-rich liquid that was produced from simmering chicken bones before canning. Liquid that gels when chilled and flows when warm, carrying the concentrated proteins and minerals that water alone cannot provide. The can delivers two products simultaneously: chicken protein from the meat, glycine and proline from the bone broth, the specific structural amino acids that support joint cushioning, gut lining integrity, and connective tissue repair under sustained physical stress. In any disruption where physical demands have increased, hauling water, performing maintenance tasks, managing property without powered equipment, the collagen compounds from bone broth address the joint and connected tissue stress that standard protein sources leave completely unaddressed. The flavor is richer than water-packed alternatives. The broth can be consumed separately as a warm drink. One can serve two functions: 3 to 5 year shelf life, under $4 per can, 15 to 20 cans. The protein plus collagen can most pantries never specifically choose over the plain alternative. Collagen protein covered. Now the Southern barbecue chicken that makes meal identity effortless. Number 11. Canned barbecue pulled chicken. Different from canned pulled pork and barbecue sauce covered previously, the chicken base delivers significantly lower saturated fat alongside the same flavor transformation function that the barbecue sauce provides. Here is the specific advantage the chicken format has over the pork alternative. Saturated fat accumulates in a diet heavy in multiple canned meat sources simultaneously. Canned pork products, beef products, and processed meats all contribute saturated fat loads that compound across weeks of exclusive shelf-stable eating. Canned barbecue pulled chicken delivers the identical flavor experience, the specific sweet, smoky, tangy profile of American barbecue with the fat profile of lean chicken rather than pork. Variety in protein source alongside variety in fat profile. In a long disruption where the same proteins appear at every meal, barbecue pulled chicken is the format that delivers a completely different sauce identity from the same general protein category: complete protein. B vitamins from chicken. The specific smoky, sweet American flavor that triggers comfort food associations in virtually every household. 2 to 5 year shelf life. Under $4 per can. 15 to 20 cans. The lean barbecue protein most pantries overlook for the pork version. Lean barbecue protein covered. Now the German ham format that slices like deli meat from a can. Number 10. Canned smoked ham slices. Different from canned whole ham, the sliced format changes the eating experience and the preparation function simultaneously. Canned smoked ham slices arrive pre-sliced oval pieces of cured smoked ham already portioned for immediate consumption. No knife. No cutting surface. Open the can and each slice is ready to eat. Ready to layer on any cracker or flatbread. Ready to fold and consume directly. The smoking process adds a second preservation mechanism alongside the canning seal. Phenolic compounds deposited during smoking are naturally antimicrobial, creating a dual preservation product that historically commanded higher prices in pre-refrigeration economies, specifically because the smoking extended viability beyond unsaved alternatives. The flavor is distinctly smoked, more intense than plain canned ham, closer to deli counter ham than to processed canned products. A slice on any cracker delivers the specific combination of salty, smoky, slightly sweet that registers as real deli food rather than emergency ration. Thiamine from the pork base, complete protein, fat for sustained energy. Sodium for electrolyte replacement, 3 to 5 year shelf life, under 5 years shelf life, under $5 per can, 10 to 15 cans. The deli format smoked protein most emergency pantries never discover. Smoked deli protein covered. Now the game meat with the lowest fat of any protein on this list. Number 9. Canned rabbit. The leanest canned meat available in any specialty or online grocery format. Rabbit delivers more protein per gram of fat than any other commonly canned animal protein. In any disruption where fat intake from multiple canned meat sources is already high, Canned rabbit provides complete protein at a fat ratio that no other canned meat matches. Beyond the macronutrient profile, rabbit provides the highest concentration of niacin of any commonly available canned meat. Niacin vitamin B3 supports energy metabolism, nerve function, and the DNA repair processes that sustained stress continuously demands. The flavor is mild, closer to chicken than to any gamier meat, with a slightly more complex depth that distinguishes it without challenging palates unfamiliar with game protein. In a long disruption where every protein source carries a specific eating identity, rabbit is the variety that most family members accept without resistance. Available through specialty grocers, online retailers, and increasingly in mainstream stores with specialty meat sections. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under 8 to 12 cans. 8 to 12 cans. The leanest, highest niacin protein most emergency pantries have never stocked. Leanest complete protein covered. Now the American bison hiding the most complete mineral profile. Number 8. Canned bison. North American bison, the animal that sustained indigenous populations across the Great Plains for thousands of years, produces meat with a nutritional profile that modern beef cannot match at equivalent serving sizes. Higher iron than beef, higher zinc than beef, higher omega-3 fatty acid content than conventional grain-fed beef, lower saturated fat than equivalent beef cuts despite comparable protein content. The specific advantage in a long-term stockpile context is the iron profile. Bison delivers heme iron, the most bioavailable form, at concentrations that most canned beef products cannot approach. In any disruption where iron deficiency is accumulating silently from reduced dietary diversity, bison is the protein that addresses the deficiency more efficiently per serving than any other canned meat. The flavor is rich and slightly sweeter than beef, a cleaner, less fatty taste that most people describe as better than beef rather than merely different from it, available through specialty and online retailers. Increasingly in natural food stores, 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under 8 to 12 canned, 8 to 12 cans. The nutritionally superior beef alternative most canned meat stockpiles never include. Superior mineral iron protein covered. Now the European forest game hiding 2,000 years of preservation history. Number 7. Canned wild boar. Wild boar has been a preserved meat staple of European rural communities since Roman documentation of curing and preservation practices in 200 BCE. 2,000 years of documented preservation history from the same animal protein now available in shelf-stable canned format. Wild boar delivers significantly higher omega-3 fatty acid content than domestic pork. Wild animals that forage naturally develop fat profiles that reflect their varied diet with higher proportions of the anti-inflammatory fats that factory-farmed animals cannot accumulate. The flavor is distinctly more complex than domestic pork, a wild, slightly gamey depth that carries more flavor per ounce than any domestic pork product. In a long disruption where flavor variety determines willingness to eat, wild boar is the protein with the most distinctive identity of any pork product on any emergency pantry list. Complete protein, higher omega-3 than domestic pork, the specific richness of wild foraged animal fat that centuries of European preservation culture recognized as superior to farm-raised alternatives. Available through specialty European food importers and online survival food retailers. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under $10 per can, 6 to 10 cans. The 2,000-year preserved protein most modern stockpiles have forgotten. Wild omega-3 pork covered, now the mountain game most closely associated with extreme survival scenarios. Number 6. Canned elk. Elk, the largest deer species in North America, produces one of the leanest, most protein-dense canned meats available through specialty and hunting supply retailers. Higher protein than beef, lower fat than beef. The specific combination that makes elk the preferred protein of endurance athletes and military special operations units who require maximum protein delivery at minimum caloric cost from fat. The iron content is extraordinary, higher than domestic beef, higher than bison, higher than any other commonly available canned game meat. In any disruption where physical demands are highest and iron loss through exertion is greatest, canned elk addresses the iron replenishment need more efficiently per serving than any alternative. Creatine from the muscle tissue, the compound that supports physical performance and cognitive function under sustained exertion. The specific benefit of wild game proteins in survival contexts is the creatine concentration that reflects the animal's own sustained physical activity. Available through specialty outdoor and hunting retailers and online. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under $10 per can, 6 to 10 cans. The military preferred lean protein most civilian stockpiles never stock. Maximum protein, minimum fat covered. Now the preserved duck format that delivers what duck confit cannot. Number 5. Canned smoked duck. Different from duck confit covered previously, duck confit is preserved in duck fat. The fat is the preservation medium. Canned smoked duck is preserved through smoking and heat processing. The smoke is the preservation layer, creating a completely different product. The smoking process concentrates the natural duck fat differently than the confit process. The surface develops a specific smoky crust while the interior retains moisture and tenderness that confit can sometimes overcook. The result is a product that delivers the duck's naturally high monosaturated fat content alongside smoke-derived phenolic antioxidants. Duck-specific fat profile. Predominantly monounsaturated oleic acid, the same fat as olive oil, delivers the cardiovascular benefits that olive oil provides from an animal protein source rather than a plant oil. The flavor is boldly smoky, with a distinctive richness of duck that separates it from every other canned poultry. A protein with an identity that most family members immediately recognize as something special. Available through specialty food retailers and online. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under 8 to 5 year shelf life. Under $8 per can. 6 to 10 cans. The smoked monounsaturated fat protein most stockpiles never discover. Smoked monounsaturated duck covered. Now the French preparation hiding the most complete nutritional package. Number 4. Canned goose confit. Different from canned goose fat covered previously in a different context. Goose confit, whole goose legs slow cooked and preserved in their own rendered fat, is the most calorie-dense, most flavor-complete single-can protein available in any specialty food section. The confit process is the oldest documented European meat preservation method. Medieval French charcutiers documented goose confit production in the 12th century, the same preservation technique that has been maintaining goose meat through winter months for over 800 years is now available in a sealed can. Goose delivers higher fat than duck, creating a product that sustains energy for significantly longer than lean game proteins. The specific fat profile of goose, primarily monounsaturated like duck, means the dense caloric load comes primarily from heart-healthy fat rather than saturated fat. In any direction where caloric density per storage pound matters, goose confit delivers more calories per can than any other canned meat product on this list. The flavor is extraordinary. Rich, deeply savory with the specific complexity of slow-cooked poultry preserved in its own fat, something that tastes like it required significant skill to produce. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under $10 per can, 6 to 8 cans. The 800-year preservation method's most calorie-dense product. Maximum calorie-dense preserved poultry covered. Now the organ meat hiding the most concentrated nutrition per gram. Number 3. Canned beef tongue. Beef tongue has been a preserved meat staple across Jewish, Latin American, Eastern European, and Asian culinary traditions for centuries. The preservation history is global. Virtually every culture that had access to cattle preserved tongue specifically because of its unique texture and nutritional density. Tongue is muscle, specifically the most exercised muscle in the animal's body, which produces the highest concentration of myoglobin and the densest connective tissue of any cut. That density translates directly to nutritional profile. Zinc at levels that approach canned oysters, among the highest zinc concentrations of any non-shellfish canned meat. Iron, complete protein. Collagen from the connective tissue that gels in the surrounding liquid. The specific eating experience that has sustained tongue's cultural importance across centuries. The texture is unlike any other canned meat, tender, slightly gelatinous from the collagen, with a mild, rich flavor that absorbs surrounding seasoning completely. Cold from the can, slice and eat. Warm with any available sauce, the texture becomes even more tender. The gelatinous surrounding liquid delivers collagen directly. 3 to 5 year shelf life, under $6 per can. 10 to 15 cans. The globally preserved organ meat most modern emergency pantries have abandoned without realizing what they lost. Global organ meat tradition covered. Now the stomach protein hiding the most unique gut health function. Number 2. Canned tripe. Tripe, the stomach lining of beef, is the most nutritionally misunderstood canned meat available and the one that experienced nutritional researchers consistently identify as the most undervalued protein in any emergency pantry. Here is the specific function most people never connect to tripe. Tripe is composed primarily of collagen, the same structural protein as bone broth, but in concentrated solid form rather than dissolved in liquid. The collagen matrix of stomach tissue supports the same functions as bone broth supplementation: gut lining integrity, joint cushioning, skin elasticity, but delivers them in a solid protein format rather than a liquid supplement. Beyond collagen, Tripe contains the highest concentration of conjugated linoleic acid of any commonly available meat product. CLA has documented anti-inflammatory properties and documented immune-modulating effects in peer-reviewed research. The flavor is mild and slightly gamey. It absorbs whatever seasoning surrounds it completely. In any well-seasoned stew or soup, tripe is indistinguishable from other protein sources to most family members who would resist it if identified. Available in Latin American grocery sections nationally. Under $3 per can, the lowest price of any canned meat on this list. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under 3 to 5 year can, 15 to 20 cans, the most affordable, most nutritionally overlooked canned protein in any grocery store. Collagen CLA organ protein covered. And now, number one, canned bone-in chicken thighs. The distinction that earns bone-in chicken thighs the number one position on a list of 12 canned meats is specific and documented. Bone-in canned chicken, the format where chicken thighs are canned with the bone present, produces a product that boneless canned chicken cannot replicate through any amount of processing. The bone. During the heat processing that sterilizes canned food, the bone structure partially dissolves into the surrounding liquid, releasing calcium, phosphorus, and marrow-derived nutrients into the can's liquid that boneless canned chicken products simply do not contain. A can of bone-in chicken thighs opened after 3 years of storage contains calcium-rich broth from the dissolved bone minerals. The calcium concentration in that broth is documented to be significantly higher than equivalent boneless products because the source, bone itself, is physically present in the can. In any disruption where dairy has been absent for weeks and calcium intake has been declining, bone-in canned chicken provides calcium from the bone directly dissolved into the liquid the chicken sits in. Passive calcium supplementation from the way the product was canned. The thigh cuts specifically, dark meat, higher fat than breast, higher thiamine and zinc than breast, more collagen from the thigh's connective tissue, delivers a more complete nutritional profile than white meat alternatives. The flavor is richer than boneless canned chicken. The bones provide the same flavor depth as homemade stock. The thigh meat shreds into satisfying pieces rather than the compressed uniform texture of processed boneless chicken. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Under $5 per can when available through specialty and Asian grocery sections. 15 to 20 cans. The bone-derived calcium delivery system hiding in the canned meat aisle. The protein that passively supplements the mineral most disruption diets eventually lose. 12 canned meats. Every one shelf stable for years. Everyone delivering something no other protein on the standard list provides. Canned chicken and bone broth, canned barbecue pulled chicken, canned smoked ham slices, canned rabbit, canned bison, canned wild boar, canned elk, canned smoked duck, canned beef confit, canned beef tongue, canned tripe, and canned bone-in chicken thighs. Total cost for meaningful quantities, under $400. The 1823 can of veal opened in 1974 was not remarkable because canning preserved it for 151 years. It was remarkable because the people who opened it had forgotten that canning could do that. These 12 meats will still be viable in 2030, in 2040. Beyond that for several on this list. The question is not whether they last. The question is whether they will be in your pantry when you need them. Subscribe. Next video covers 12 more specialty canned proteins showing the same extraordinary shelf life that most emergency stockpiles have never included. Drop a comment. Which of these 12 surprised you most?